Now let's turn a little bit and start to talk a little bit about the Q&A fields. I want to pull up heavytruckparts.net real quick. So I've got a basic list of engines up here, and we load just as by default when we set up a new enterprise system. We add some more fields to the engines specifically because we know that there are some basics that everybody seems to like to capture. But you have control over those. You can see here that this one doesn't include Jake. This one does. CPL's there in a couple of different formats. Those more fields, and then the Q&A fields that go along with them are your ability to kind of control what you're saying about those parts, and that translates directly to how they're going to display on heavytruckparts.net. And any of our partners that we share data with. That information passes along out to those partners as well. So it impacts your advertising everywhere that you're listing it. You can see here the use of the video Q&A field on this particular part where they've embedded a video in there. Just do a walk around and give you a little bit of an idea of what you're looking at on that particular vehicle. So we're gonna look at how to do that through the Q&A fields here real quick as well. But I can't say enough about the fact that the more information, good descriptions, really important. Filling out those extra Q&A fields, really important. As I scroll down through here and I'm looking at what everybody's added, it looks like lots of people are doing a real good job of filling information out. Here maybe a little more description there. Good with the videos, etc. You can see here's something we need to kind of catch up with this one here a little bit, I think, and get those Q&As filled in correctly for them. Looks like they need to label those a little differently. Let's come on down through. Yeah. This maybe some more Q&A on this one. So anyway, let's jump in and look at where we set all that up in the system. So it's done by part type. I'm going to come in here into parts configuration. I'm going to use my top header there to just sort my numbers so it's easier to get to my 3000. And you can see here those more fields that are already filled in for this engine assembly here. Again, we kind of add some standard when we set up a system, but you guys can edit these if you wanted to change that to Jake on this one, or change the oil pressure to Jake. That's just easy enough to do. You're just gonna change it in here and then click save to save that out. And now the engines will change to Jake. If I wanted to change it back to oil pressure, I can. A note on changing more fields or Q&A fields that you already have information filled out for. So if I change oil pressure to Jake and I've already got oil pressure filled out on some records, you will abandon that information. So just a note on that. If you change labels and you've already got data in some of those fields, you abandon the information. So that is why we created the Q&A field. So you can continue to add. So under custom questions, I've already got a couple attached to engines here. Video, which is a great one to default to all your parts, and mileage, also a useful one. I can add pretty much anything I wanted in here. If I wanted to say, what's the weight? I could add weight in there. And that'll be a question that will now appear on all of my engines. If I click OK, save out again, that's great. I've added it to all engine records, existing and any that I would create in the future. And let's go back and look at where those come in at. Let me look at this. Oh, let's open this one up. Got some pics on it, etc. There we go. So you can see here where those 4 basic more fields are going to apply in, and in recent versions we've made them drop downable. They used to just be text fields, but now you can select from the drop down there, and then the Q&A fields, which show up over here on the Q&A and serial number tab. So obviously, if I, mileage, I can put that in here. Weight, put that in here if I want to. Video, let's talk about that a little bit. So to get a video into a part record, the trick is to again set up a YouTube site. We get this question a lot. Can I just put the video directly into ITrack? No, you need to use a hosting service. Doesn't need to be YouTube. Can be Vimeo. Can be YouTube. Could be something you host or create yourself. The link is what's important. We don't store the whole video in the database. As you can imagine, your server or your virtual server would bloat really fast. And so using YouTube to contain those things is the best way to do it. So for instance, if I want to come in here, let's see, buying heavy truck parts, I could come in here, grab the link on this. I suppose could watch the video, take a little video break here, but I'm going to come back to the system, drop my link in there, and save this out. And at this point, it will attach the video to that particular part and display that video out on heavytruckparts.net. So it's pretty easy. Shoot the video, shoot it on a phone, add it directly to your YouTube channel. Again, if you don't have a YouTube channel set up and want some help in how to do that, feel free to contact support and we'll walk you through how to set up your own YouTube channel and connect videos. That's how video gets made. You do need the video Q&A question, and again, that can be added to any part through the part configuration screen. If I come into door vent glass front, probably not a very used part, but if I come into Q&A, I can put video on here. And save that, and then anytime I was to inventory door vent glass front, I would have the opportunity to also post a video link in there. So quick and easy to accomplish that. From here, I want to talk a little bit more about the customer contact screen. So this is the tab where customer contact lives on our home screen, and you can see a bunch of I was looking back through some things yesterday, and I set up a bunch of customer contacts to be done. They have, because the due date on those was set for yesterday, these have expired, and so they turn red. Obviously, they'd be black if they were not yet expired. I can at this point click into these, and it opens them up onto the customer screen that I'm working with here, and I can begin from my customer responses. And let me back up again. By clicking on that link in the home screen, it brought me into my customer record. So this is Tony's Trucks. I'm in the customer response tab. It brought me instantly here. This notice on my home screen here, this is a contact request that was assigned to me by my sales manager. And so I know that I need to tick this off and get it done. There is the opportunity through the transaction list and the report screen to create a sales manager report on customer contacts. So you could follow up on how sales staff has done that contact or made those contacts that you've assigned out to them through our reporting tools. So at this point, I would follow up on that contact my manager had sent for me and say, okay, I'm going to create a correspondence. This is kind of I would describe the correspondence, or what you're creating at this point. The ticket itself is really like a folder jacket. So there are multiple correspondences now that I'm going to potentially put inside of this folder jacket that I'm creating. So it's assigned to support. That's still me. The original contact was assigned to me by my manager. So at this point, I'm gonna make a phone call out to Tony and see if there's anything we can do for him. Hey Tony, is what I said. I called Tony up. I said, Tony, Needed another ISX. He's going to call me back. This I can set and say, okay, I want to set a due date on. I want to set a due date on this to see or to follow up on. Let's say the 16th. If he doesn't call me back, if he doesn't call me back today, then on the 16th, now that I've created this correspondence here and the note within it, tomorrow when I come back to my home screen here, I will see the contact that I need to make to Tony to follow up on that second ISX that he potentially wants to buy from me. I'm going to sort this out to just today. The date picker that works for everything else works here too. Oh, and you can see that callback with the due date of tomorrow that I need to do. So I can start to organize my callbacks based upon what I've done and based upon what my sales manager has assigned me. At this point, I can click back into it. And let's say he does actually call back. I can create another touch point here and say, oh, this is great. Tony did call back. He is going to take that engine. So I can continue to kind of keep the notes. And this is the important part. We've worked with and integrate to a variety of CRM tools outside of iSoft. Salesforce is one. We internally use HubSpot. We've integrated to Pipedrive. I recommend all of those if you have sophisticated CRM needs at the company. But if you've struggled to really get traction with Salesforce because it's so big and nobody ever used it, or you're just starting to kind of dip your toe in keeping track of customer correspondence, this is a great tool a great segue tool to use, I think, because it does build up this history inside of that customer record that you can refer back to. You can set things just as notes in the correspondence, as internal notes. I think you saw that. You could set it as miscellaneous, as an email, a phone call out, and record those. Any open ones that are assigned to, you can come in here and close them out and say, okay, that's done. I can look back and see the ones that I've closed. I can use my date range here to say, okay, what are all of them I've done with this customer in the past? Or if I know a conversation and an invoice happened in a certain date range, I can look back and say, well, what was the conversation I had with Tony about this? Why did the turbo not fit? We all agreed that it had the right number of bolt holes on it. So what exactly did we discuss in that discussion? So note taking about customers is always great. This tool helps facilitate it. The other piece, and the piece I don't feel like we ever really get to, is how to assign these out. So let's look at that real quick. So I'm going to come into my customer list. I'm just going to show all. Again, it's the demo system, so not as many as you guys are going to see in your system. But basically, at this point, I can say, okay, I'm going to take the first range here of these folks, and I'm going to assign contact for these. And I want these to go to, again, I'm going to say to support, so we can see them on our home screen there. Well, actually, let's assign them to somebody else on this one. Let's assign these out to Kathy. I want her to make phone calls on these, and I want her to get through all of these by the end of the day on Monday. Put a note on those, click OK. Those were automatically created and assigned to the person that I selected there. So as I come in and look at all, for instance, I can see all of the folks that I've got them assigned to. It looks like I still accidentally assigned them to myself, but from here I could look through and say, okay, what's everybody looking at, and sort by who it's assigned to. I can sort it by customer, or as you build more, obviously, you can sort them by due date or creation date. So I've got that one that I created. That needs to happen by the end of day tomorrow. And these all need to happen by the end of day Monday. At this point, I come in, click on it, see that it's been assigned to me. click on that item right there that I've created and create a touch point on it. Come back to my home screen. Let's pick another one. Same thing, create the touch point and say, okay, made that phone call. Put a note on it. That way my sales manager knows and can report on it. Hey, they actually did what I asked them to, and logged that call. That report, again, can be found under the report viewer, or if some of you attended Justin Wheeler's transaction list training, you may know that you can look at this information over in the transaction list screen. If you'd like to know more about that or need help with that, please again, call support, and they're happy to give you more information on how that works and how you can generate the transaction list reporting out on that. So that kind of gets us through those basic ideas that I wanted to touch on today. Thanks everybody for joining our webinar / podcast here. The idea is really to pique your interest, to maybe wet your whistle a little bit on some of these concepts, and then I do encourage you to reach out, schedule some one-on-one time with our folks here, whether that's Mark Hardesty or with someone in development or someone in support. We're someone in our marketing department to help you set up a YouTube channel, or talk more about how to make the best of your listings on heavytruckparts.net.